Prepare to attack the enemy's control points.
Get behind me, Doctor!
I am fully charged!
You are listening to Control Point, a Team Fortress 2 podcast with Brent Copeland, Eric Fullerton, Wes Wilson, and Spencer Williams.
Control Point, Episode 5, recorded on November 20th, 2007.
All right, here we are.
That was terrible.
Another show. It wasn't bad.
There was definitely some mouthwash lozenge stuff in there.
Are you Control Point? Control Point. Episode 5.
Delicious.
That's
Recorded on November 20th, 2007.
Oh god, it's
That seems tasty just from the sound
I'm Brent Copeland.
it's like a rainbow took a crap in my brain.
I'm Wes Wilson.
I am Eric Fullerton, and I am a robot.
I'm Spencer Williams, I guess. I'm not sure what's going on here.
This is the Control Point. And this week we are going to give a little bit of the TF2 update. We had a couple of updates in the past. Seems like
Every week we get one, right?
We had two this week, didn't we?
It seems like it.
One of them was big.
And then we're going to talk about a new custom map that my boy Eric here made.
Yeah.
I'm your boy.
You're my boy.
Does that make you my daddy?
It does.
You guys, our listeners can't see, but Brent has his arm around Eric right now.
Not anymore.
You're not even telling him where that other hand is.
And the real irony is that his name on his computer is Daddy.
Daddy. Yeah,
And the real irony is Eric's not wearing any pants.
Yikes.
But you can't see that either. And then, of course, our featured class for today is the Sniper.
Sniper, right.
Which I've got to say, the listeners came in full force with sniper tips.
Yeah,
Man.
guys, we thought we weren't going to have much to talk about, but man.
We asked you guys, and man, we got flooded with tons and tons of tips.
We got a couple of essays on the subject.
So next time we ask you for anything, don't reply.
Actually, I have something to ask people tonight, so maybe we'll get some responses for it.
Oh, good. Okay.
But I guess with that, that's what was in the briefcase this week, and so I'm going to close that up.
You close the briefcase,
and then we'll get into what we did this week, and I guess we can start with me. Let's see. This week, yes.
What did you do this week?
Oh man, see, I spoiled it. But anyway,
put you on the spot.
So this week I spent time trying to optimize the server because all I got were complaints about how slow it was to download the map.
It was very slow. Yeah.
So I read up on it, and apparently, just letting people upload the maps from the actual folder where the maps are is not good because it's slower and it's the full file. So anybody else running a server, the thing you need to do is get 7-zip, I think it's called, 7-zip, and archive it to a bzip2, and then what you want to do is upload it to a different server, completely different server where you can host the files. And then in your server config, you'll point it to that point. And what it'll do is it'll download the bzip and automatically uncompress it, and you'll be good to go. And it's super fast.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it zips them really small, too.
Yeah, and the speeds were, it was so noticeably differently.
Differently different.
Noticeably differently.
Did you put a whole lot of new maps up?
Yeah, pretty much anyone besides any of the 420 maps I put up.
You need to get the ice map.
Oh, is that a bash?
Did you see the ice map?
Well, there's two. The one I played on was the one that had like
the 4 things.
Well,
you had
4.
6?
I guess it was 4. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and that was scary.
It's very Duel 2-esque.
Yeah.
Wait, which map is this?
I don't remember what the exact name of it was, but basically it's an ice map. And I was talking about it earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Everything is bled out. The contrast is yanked up really, really high. And so everything's glowing and and you look like you're on a really bright planet. And
sounds Tron-esque.
It is. It's very Tron-esque. And there's 4 raised squares in a square battlefield, and there are 3 control points, one on your side, one in the middle, and one on the far side, and then there's 2 spawn points on either side. And it gets to be one of these things where you're trying to suppress the other group from being able to spawn logically.
Yeah, because it's right there next to the control point.
Right. So if they can get out, they can defend it.
You know, that seems to be happening a lot in a lot of these early maps, is that the maps are designed in such a way that you can actually like just push the other team back and push them into their spawn and keep them there. I think that's something that maps are going to have to address in the future here.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a big paradigm shift in the way that maps are built right now, because right now it's kind of, I think a lot of people just kind of slap stuff out there. You know, they want to get their hands in using the builder, and they don't really think about design of the map. And so they put the pieces out there and they make it look good. But I think people are going to start thinking more about, okay, how can I make this friendly to each class? Each class will have a place.
And
in this
actually,
map.
I've noticed that a lot. A lot of times what happens, people start with a 4-sided object and they build a small 4-sided map that then they modify it to
Are you speaking of the quad here, sir?
Anyway,
Or I like to call it the ramp room.
You know, to be fair, Valve did spend like 9 years making 6 maps, so
That's true.
Yeah, and they're also like 6 times as big as any other map.
That's true,
'Cause,
yeah.
no one has to download them really. So
they
except
do
for that
anything
first
else?
time.
Well, part of that optimizing server you were talking about, a lot of that was trying to get the update to work. And that was a little hectic because it wouldn't update for a while. Like everybody else's server updated except ours.
Yeah, well, we use, and now no one's going to use it and pay us for using it. Thanks, but it's actually something good to know that we use gameservers.com, and they don't actually pay us, so it doesn't really matter.
Wow, you're such a shill.
Yeah, but I've noticed issues they've had with just weird problems, like some people saying, like our server didn't update with the patch. They said turn it off for 5 minutes and then it would automatically update.
Yeah.
Well, it didn't, so our server was down for a good 36 hours.
Yeah, and it was kind of painful.
Yeah, because you were trying to test that map.
Yeah.
And which you'll get into the map. So also I put a bunch more custom maps on the site, and I listed them on the server, and I listed them on the site. So now people can download them straight from the site if they don't want to download them in game, even though I don't think that's an issue now. But
Okay. I noticed that. Did you make a page just for server for map downloads?
yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yes. And I figured Eric and I were talking about maybe actually doing write-ups and reviews on maps as like a post, and then pushing that to the maps page. So kind of like people can come to our site and get maps and read reviews on it and that sort of thing. Because the only thing we've really found are 2 sites, FPS Banana.
Yeah, that's a pretty good site, though.
Yeah, I think the issues we had was more layout, and it seems like they may be addressing that now a little more.
Yeah, navigation was a little tough.
So, but besides that, I like that site. And the other one was like TF2 maps, and it doesn't seem like it's been updated in a while or had any new maps added in a while. So I think FPS Banana is the place to go at the moment.
And they have tutorials. I like that.
Also, I left the TWM, the Teamwork Movement or whatever.
Huge group, huh?
It is like 40,000 people or something. But I was reading this huge post on about how it's basically a front for Clan Q. I don't know if y'all have heard of these guys, but apparently they've had some issues in past games that where they had some weird things on their servers, where they would have a bunch of fake servers out there that would send you to their servers, or they would try to get stuff installed on your computer that would send you to their servers and stuff like that.
That's
I'm a little in the dark on this. You're saying that there was like a Steam community called TWM that you left? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
Huh.
Well, was it because y'all were writing notes over there?
I wasn't.
Schoolgirls?
It wasn't me. But anyway,
I thought of something funny that wasn't funny enough to say on the air, so I typed it.
There's never such a thing as that.
And this is what he typed. I have to read it to the entire class. Okay. This is the little note that Wes passed to Spencer just now. The note says, "This map is bananas. BANANAS."
which is actually banana spelled incorrectly.
Exactly. So that was the note.
Back to Brent. back to the actual content of the show. What was the issue exactly, and what was going on?
Basically, it seems like, and this is the thing, I would love to hear from our listeners if they know any true information about Clan Q, or if they're in Clan Q and maybe can talk about it, because there's a big post we can put on our forums that goes to it about how they were basically pulled from different server lists because of the practices they did on their servers that seemed to be, putting
a little shady.
I don't know
or
whether to
something.
call it spyware
Well, I think what
or
happened
Trojans
was
or things like that.
I only glanced over the information because I've been on some of their servers before and I haven't caught anything. But evidently they use the in-game browser to point to something that had Trojans or
Some exploit thing.
some kind of issue where they were accessing, providing you software on your computer that you were not supposed to have on there.
You mean, is it like on the opening splash screen? Like,
I think it is. I think when you first get to the map, the little splash screen, they were somehow subcontracting out that real estate.
Well, it's like we send ours to a HTML page. That's how we changed it from the chalkboard.
Yeah.
And so I think Steam's built off basically the Windows browser, so it's going to have just as the same holes as Windows or IE is.
Yeah. Sounds like it's full of mystery and intrigue, though.
Yeah, and so I'd like to get more information about it. But the thing is, I didn't want to be in that group if that was going on.
Right.
They had 40,000 people, so I thought, hey, let's join in. Maybe I can talk to some people. But if you notice, like, on their site, they have a list of approved TWM servers. It's supposed to be like the Teamwork Movement or something like that, They're all their Clan Q servers. All, and people are saying, they can't get their servers on that list for whatever. So it seems like they're kind of pushing their own agenda. So just be warned about that. Look into it before you decide to join them, maybe, whatever.
man, are we going to have to start passing out condoms with
I already do.
TF2? Like, here's TF2, and
I download a condom with every episode.
And for the record, we have not detected anything about this. We are avoiding this purely for a non-drama standpoint.
Yeah.
It's there's some trouble here. We'll step away for a little while and then come back to it later.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we just don't know what's going on. I don't want to take any sides at this moment.
so
Anyway.
like Brent said, if you guys do know what's going on, let us know.
And besides that, I have 2 maps of the week that I enjoyed. One was Melee Ring King. I don't know if anybody's played
Describe
this
that. I saw you play it. It was funny.
It's hysterical.
Like
So
Mike Tyson's Punch Out?
Pretty much.
they do something in this map where you can only use your melee weapons. And you come out of the spawn room, and it's a dark, dark room with just a ring in the middle, like a boxing ring. And it's a control point. So you have to stand in the control point to turn it, and you're sitting there punching each other, and that's all you do. Now, there are some...
That sounds retarded.
it seems that way, but it's like duel 3
Why
or
did-
4, because actually someone told me today, Mijo, I guess, told me that there's a duel 3 out there now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
And you can walk upstairs. It's like a 2-level thing now.
Yeah.
Wow.
something.
So if you get in melee ranking, go spy. You would think heavy, but the spy can still backstab.
Yeah.
They can still cloak, and they can still change to the other side, because those aren't
that's true.
weapons. So pretty much...
I guess you can't build a sentry there.
I didn't try.
You know,
that would not be a melee weapon.
Generally in boxing, they try to tell you not to use sentry guns.
Oh, man. Take all the fun out of it.
I mean,
Or bite people's ears, apparently.
That's a melee weapon, right? Your mouse?
Yes.
Anyway,
Yes.
continue.
And then the other map was the quad,
The
which
quad, baby.
I think is a good segue into
Isn't that
Eric's
one?
week.
Isn't that the square one?
That is
with
the square one.
Okay.
So the quad is a map I'm working on right now. I mentioned last episode that I was going to work on a Warsong Gulch map, and I did. I worked on it for about 8 hours, and then somehow I lost the map, and I lost the autosaves and everything. So I really didn't want to have to recreate it. So I thought, let's just do something simple.
that's so sad.
Yeah, and it was kind of based on, let's do a Duel 2 kind of map, like a real simple thing. And then it got a little more complicated. Basically, it's just a one control points, King of the Hill type game. And as it stands, I might change the rules. I'm still tweaking everything, but as it stands, what you do is you say you're red, and you take the control point. Your timer is 10 minutes. If you control the point for 10 minutes, you win. Now, if the blue comes along and they capture the point, that red timer stops, or it pauses. Now the blue
Kinda like
timer,
chess timers.
yeah, the blue timer starts, and they basically pause and resume every time someone takes it. So it could be possible that the red timer only has 5 seconds left, while the blue timer or the opposing team's timer is like on 8 minutes or something. So basically, you have 10 full minutes that you have to capture this point.
Yeah.
So mathematically, could it really? It's only going to last about 20 minutes.
That's the max. Yeah.
I mean,
I thought you guys were cheating. I really did. Because I would capture the point and it would be red and it'd be like, yes, I got to hold this point for 3 minutes. And then blue would capture it and it'd be like, you fail. I'm like, what? Wait, there was 3 minutes left. I thought people were cheating.
Oh yeah.
And like I was telling you earlier, I really think it should work slightly different. I think that there should be like, if you hold on to the point for a minute and a half or 2 minutes, then you automatically win. But I think that would speed up the game quite a bit. But we'll see.
Yeah. So that would be if the other team comes along, they basically reset the timer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it would be nice to try it with like a 5-minute timer that was a strict timer.
Yeah.
You know, that if you held it for 5 minutes, you win. But if it flips, it starts at 5 minutes again for the next
Yeah.
team.
No, I hate that idea. No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
I think 5 minutes is too long. I think
even a minute and a half is too long. If anything resets the timer, then the game can go on forever.
no, you put
the
a
chess
maximum
timer.
time limit on it, just like all of the regular maps.
Well, I think the chess timer idea is great, and I support you.
Yay. So
The way it actively
Man.
functions is what you're saying.
besides the logic behind the gameplay, a little bit about the behind the scenes. We tested the map a bunch of times. Right now, it's on the 5th version of it. It's still an alpha, which means that I'm not going to be putting it up on any websites yet.
But
And there are things that are broken about it. So,
but if you join, wow, that sounded odd. But if you join the Control Point community, if you're not already a member, we do send out invites every once in a while when we're I guess pretty much when we test it, we send out an invite to the group.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to come try it out.
Yeah. Anytime I compile a new one, I want to test it right away. So we just send a big invite out.
And last night was really awesome. We had a little chat, and due to some technical problems with Steam, the chat didn't go over so hot. But Eric sends me a message. And he says, "I'm testing the map," and I say, "Do you want more people?" And he's like, "Yeah." So I immediately set up a event that says we're testing the map, and a lot of you guys came out. We had probably about 10 or 12 people there, and it was awesome. Yeah,
that was the biggest test group yet. And so basically, real quick, the first version. Or the first couple of versions, I realized that there was no place for the map, or there was no place for engineers, spies, or pyros. And so because the quad, or the area is much too wide, it's too open, and it became kind of a sniper fest. So I put in some walls to both obscure views from sniper windows that I built, and allow cover for medics to stand behind, and build sentries, and also, I guess, spies. It's nice to be able to, duck behind something and hide real quick. And I also added items and, like health kits and stuff, which I just forgot about, ammo and stuff like that. And also, another element about this is, other than fighting in the quad area itself, the spawn rooms have 2 entries. So, and, 2 exits. So when you spawn, you have the choice if you exit left or you exit right. So I made those, the doors clear so that you can see if someone's behind the door spawn camping you. So you can just take the other route if you'd like.
That's a really, really nice touch. It completely prevents what I was talking about earlier of one team, pushing the other team back into their spawn.
Yeah, and I like that aspect. So I wanted to make the spawn rooms part of the game. Now, a lot of Valve maps don't do that, and I mean, I clearly understand why, but I didn't want a spawn point to be isolated and off in the corner somewhere and not be a part of the game, because I think spawn camping is cool, not when it's unfair, obviously. So I have lots of routes in and out of the spawn room. So So I think it's a pretty well-rounded map so far. As we test it, I kind of see what the classes are doing and what will work and what doesn't work. And in fact, I kind of like just spectating and not playing and seeing what people do, kind of like rats in a cage, kind of. So anyway, come and join us. You'll get an invite on the next alpha version, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and if you guys have any opinions of how things should be, or how Eric needs to fix something, let us know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I was doing a K raid in World of Warcraft at the time that y'all were having a big test. Oh, I know it. I know that's our
K raid.
Yeah.
Man, that game is gay.
It's better than a KY raid.
But anyway, point being that by the time I got to the map, there was only like 1 or 2 people on each side, and it was kind of interesting because it's a very small map. So, okay, 2 people come out, and then 1 person ends up in the spawn room, and it ends up being a kind of a rock, scissors, paper sort of thing. You're trying to figure out what singular, especially if you're the guy that's all by yourself, what class can I get that will best to those 2 classes? And there's a lot of shifting and a lot of changing, and it was actually kind of fun for a little while. We had Davari and Eric was playing for a little while, and it ended up being a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I give 2 thumbs up. I think it's a really good map. I think it looks great. I think it plays great.
Yeah, it's a good start right now. Unless I see something that really needs to be tweaked, I'm going to continue with detail. And, which is basically, stuff that doesn't need to be in there per se, but it just makes it look pretty. So anyway.
Eric likes pretty things.
I do. I like detail work.
That's why he sits next to me every podcast.
Oh my!
I think you need another tunnel though. In addition to the ramps that go down to the floor around the quad.
That's what Spencer said. A way to connect the rooftops would be neat.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Connect the rooftops. And then another thing would be maybe something that gets you from one side of the map to the other. So just a
sewer,
a sewer that does a loop around the bottom of the map.
Yeah, because I love the sewer in 2 Fort, and I like little alternate routes that are kind of close quarters, kind of for pyros, really.
You know what I think there should be? I think there should be a human cannon.
Nice. Can you do that?
I'm sure you could. Just build a little cannon and let someone get it in, crouch, and they get shot out of the map. That would be awesome.
Cool. I'm going to look into that. That's interesting.
You know what?
Like a little carnival map.
If the pyro sets them on fire before they launch, it's a human flaming cannon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Even better. So anyway, that's the quad. Come and join in on all the fun. And let's see. What else? Let's see. I have a note here that says building sentries on the bridge of 2 Fort is fun, and this is true. Me and Brent played the dueling engineers. We had 2 sentries on the bridge, and we were repairing each other's, and spies came in. It just really makes a mess when sentries, when sentries have the
when they come out of the base.
Yeah, the bridge is just completely barricaded. And we started moving the sentries up to their front door. It's even messier, and people get really mad. And then half the team spawns as spies. That's just a load of fun, especially when it's like 16 on 16. So that's cool. and you don't get the opportunity to do that a lot. But that night we had it. We owned the bridge for quite a while.
I was playing, I think, on that same server, and someone on the other team had built a turret right in the middle of the bridge, and I was playing a demo man, and I found this spot that was like right dead center in front of the bridge, right dead center in front of the turret, but I was just outside of its range. Literally, if I backed all the way against the wall, it couldn't see me. So I just started shooting stuff at it.
Oh, wow.
But of course, then there were like 4 heavies shooting me, so that didn't work. So yeah.
Yeah, it definitely takes 2 engineers to pull that off. I think. I don't think just 1 engineer and 1 sentry is good enough.
Yeah, and speaking of gaming together, we get a little sentimental here.
Oh my god!
And what
is wrong with you tonight, Brent?
I'm sick. Okay, I'm sick. I'm drugged up. But we played on some server. Was it last night? And they had All Talk on.
Yeah.
Turn the freaking All Talk on unless it's like a private server, please. Turn it off.
Because man, it's stupid. It's incoming scout. and Brent's playing the scout.
Yeah.
It's like,
I go in the base, and it's like a play-by-play. Chip was on there, or Prodigal was on there.
Yeah, it's like a
earlier,
commentary, you know,
and
like
he was going on, yeah. And I was running the base, you know, kill a soldier, kill a pyro, kill the engineer, take the briefcase, and like some guy's like, man, that was lucky. I'm like, where's the luck in that?
I kept hearing like spy is pyro, and I was like, oh, then I'll just switch to medic. You know, because like they're on to me. I mean, that's just stupid.
And then you start throwing in like, you know, like I was running in the tunnels. It was on mock, and I was running through the tunnels. Oh, scout coming in the tunnels, and I go, well, scout turned around, and they kept running in. You know? Like, will they notice or not? You know.
So
I didn't even think
So-
of that. Like next time they call me out for being a spy, I'll just say, "Oh, not anymore. Got him." You know.
You know what? I think that's funny. What are we up to for the control point rules for server modding now? We're on leave friendly fire off and leave global comms off.
Yeah.
And that's really on public, right?
Public, large, and if you're talking about a 12-person game, you know, 6-person private chat isn't that important.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but when you've got a 32-person game, yeah, server-wide chat should be off.
In fact, last night when Eric and I were doing the test of the quad, someone asked if we could turn on global chat, and honestly, we would have if either of us had known the command to do so.
Yeah, I don't even know how to do that. You know how to do that, Brent?
It's on now, but yes.
Oh, okay. It is on?
I bookmarked the site that has all the Archon commands, and I'll post them.
Oh, good.
With the password that Archon, which is
Now, can you turn
What
it
is
on
the
and off on the
password?
fly?
yes.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Sweet. Okay, so we'll have a commands list
Hey, Wes.
available.
Yeah.
Hey, what did you do this week?
Well, one of the funniest things I did, I played on one server where if it went into sudden death, it was all melee. Sudden death, like, okay, can you imagine playing Hydro and all of a sudden it's sudden death and there was a fixed number of each class that was allowed in. The classes were randomly distributed and it was all melee. So, you know, one person got to be a spy, one person, you know, and it was hilarious. And of course, you know, someone wins.
So did you like that though?
I actually did.
Because we can do that. You do that with Beatles mod for anybody out there.
I think that for especially, you know, for some of the maps that are harder to win in sudden death, things like Granary or like even Hydro. If you get a you know, a couple of engineers up and you're trying to guard that last control point and because they know they're going to die, they're not going to just kind of cruise in. But if everybody's just got their fists, they go charging in all over the place. So somebody's going to make it to the control point. It's whether they live once they get there because they're getting beaten on. That's the question.
You know, this sounds like it might be fun to try, but it doesn't sound like something that I'd want to be a default.
I think it works well for maps where, for instance, like in Hydro, you've got a very clear set of victory conditions, and if they are not met, you need to do something extreme to pick a winner. You don't want to draw.
So what if you just had it automatically switch to Melee Ring King?
Because map changing in TF2 takes forever.
Sudden Death Duel 2.
Unless you're on the control point server. Brought to you by GameServers.com.
And just a notable thing, we use
into the Dr. Pepper jingle here in a minute.
Why do you mention that? We're drinking A&W and Mountain Dew at this table. I've had about enough of that.
Yeah, I need more gin.
A quick thing that just came in my head, we use Game Tracker too, and that's awesome for stats, live stats and graphs and all this crap, all about your server, you know. And I think we have a little picture, right? We have a little banner.
I'll put one on the side. It may be a little too obtrusive. Y'all can tell me, and if it is, I'll remove it.
Well, I think it's cool. If you click on it, it'll bring you to the full stats page. You can see all the top players that play the most and have the most points on that server, and it's really cool. It's free too, right?
I think you like it because you're up at the top now.
That is why I like it. You know, otherwise I hate it.
Yeah, I never actually thought to click it. I just thought, oh look, that's cool.
Oh yeah, click it, man. You get like pie charts and I mean crazy stuff. It's nice.
And hugs.
Yeah, and you get lots of hugs.
Wow. Hey, Wes, what else did you do?
The other thing I noticed is there is a way to overspray someone else's spray. And if it was just a normal kind of thing, that would be great. If I could come along and spray back over it, that would be no big deal. But evidently people are layering their images in such a fashion so that whatever they spray goes on top of whatever is placed after it. And I actually got some graffiti this time. I would throw up the control point spray, and then there was another guy who every time after me would come and put his spray over mine, and it would cover it up all the time.
What was it?
It was like a VG cat going,
It wasn't like a picture of a boob?
No. No.
Was it a picture of a guy yelling at you for putting sprays in his map and he's following you around?
Angry
But
bulldog.
I did think it was kind of fun. I mean, at first I'm like, wow, that's kind of funny. Oh, well, I'll spray on top of his. And I went, hey, wait, that's not fair. Because as soon as I put my spray up, his spray was on top of mine. I have no idea how he did that. So if anybody has any ideas.
We should find that
That's
guy.
just
and
plain
put him up.
rude.
It is. It's mean. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I think if you can do something funny, to somebody else's spray, that's one thing. But just spraying over it, that's kind of jerky.
Like if somebody came along and put a little mustache or something on a guy's face,
That is
or
brilliant.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be neat. Or a little doodle. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
You
Maybe
just like
all you
drawing
had was a
mustaches on
transparent GIF with a
Yeah.
curly mustache and a top hat.
yeah,
Let's
exactly.
make one that just says, loves control point.
A monocle?
And then it goes on every spray. Clan Q loves control point. No, we don't want that.
or like a spray that just says something like ignore this spray and then an arrow pointing left.
Yeah.
Or something like,
No.
I don't know.
I have seen some that say this spray is gay.
Ah, okay. It's already out there.
Yeah.
With a little arrow.
Yep.
Anyway.
Wow.
Yep. Spencer,
Yeah.
what about you? I'm sure you did something.
I did a little. I didn't get to play that much this week. I was very busy, but a few things. The first thing that I had was anybody that's played on Xbox Live is familiar with the human gutter that voice communication is on Xbox Live. And we're trying to run a clean show, so I can't really give you any examples. But usually the words start with F and end with something bad.
Fun bad?
Sometimes.
No, it ends with
not.
something bad. So
Yeah,
it's five something bad.
Yeah, something like that. But I was going to say that most of the voice comms that I've had in Team Fortress 2 have been remarkably good, like professional and not that we're pro gamers or anything like that, but they've been very pleasant and very, very useful. And I finally had an instance of terrible voice communications. And I think, Eric, you were in that game with me too, where everyone was going melee and
Yeah, and they got mad if you don't go melee. And it's like, dude, there's no official rule here.
yeah, and it was just unpleasant to be on. And I actually muted my second player. In case you guys didn't know, you can just go to the menu to mute players, and I finally muted a second player. The first one I muted before we started the podcast because a guy had going through his voice chat, I am Optimus Prime, and he just played it over and over and over again. I'm tired of that, so I muted that. So that was fun.
Was that chat game the same one where they were just like talking, like they had basically a phone conversation talking about politics and all this stuff, and somebody on the server was like, "Can y'all like play the game?" And they're like, "Well, when you get to know the people on the server, you'll want to chat to them as well." And I'm thinking, no, I want you to tell me where the freaking spy is.
I that was not the same server, but that actually sounds entertaining. I'd like to go in there and like.
Oh, really? No.
For Ron Paul.
I actually ran into a lot of bad voice communication early. And I think the fact that there needs to be an announcement on almost all these servers that say no racism or you'll be banned says something about the status of voice communication.
Well, you don't have a 360. You've never played Halo. So I don't want to hear it about bad voice communication because it's the sewer of humanity, except it's like if the sewer had a place where denizens of the sewer had to go and take a poop, they would go in this place. I mean, it's that bad.
So, okay, the question I was talking about getting people to answer earlier, maybe you can answer then because it's an Xbox 360 question.
What?
I have, my brother-in-law has an Xbox 360.
Okay.
He has Team Fortress 2.
Yeah.
Now, can they play on the same servers as us?
No.
It's completely separate.
In fact, that was one of the things we had some. One of my friends I ran into, an old college friend, and he's been playing it, the Orange Box, on the 360, and I kind of feel bad that none of us have tried it because we can't address them at all, really, and their concerns. So that was one of the things. What's that?
You can download a demo, right?
I don't know.
Demo
I haven't looked.
on live. Okay.
I haven't looked.
I have to do that.
But maybe we ought to. And of course, we can't dedicate another portion of the show to that. But if you guys play
Buy some
on the 360,
GameServers.com servers. We can afford 360s for all of us, so we can play Team Fortress 2.
Just send us your comments on this.
Yeah, just keep in mind that we're all playing on the PC.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to get them to pay me for not working. So forget the game servers.
Okay, let's see. Another thing that I've noticed, and I thought that Valve had fixed this in one of the patches, but every time I quit the game, my graphics options reset to default. It keeps my resolution at 1600 by 1200, which is how I always play. But everything else resets. My texture resolution resets. It resets my anti-aliasing to a much lower level. And it's really frustrating because if I actually want the game to look as good as it can, and it runs perfectly fine on max options on my computer, I have to change the graphics options, and that takes like a minute out of the gameplay. So if anyone from Valve is listening to that, please fix that, and that will make me happy, and we'll shill for you, or we'll have Brent do it. We'll have Brent say
GameServers.com.
I change my
servers for the real gamer.
I change my push to talk every time I have to play.
at least I don't have to rebind any of my controls.
I have to manually assign a key every single time.
So that's pretty much. I played on Eric's map, which we've already covered in some detail.
Which we host on GameServers.com. Sorry, 7 times and it's funny again, right?
I want to. He did mention the first alpha that he put up, and he and I and Brent played on, and there was one other guy from the community that joined it. Do you know who it was?
Ooh, don't remember.
Anyway, whoever that guy is.
N Dux, maybe? I don't remember.
I don't think it was Dux, but it was somebody. And the very first version that Eric uploaded to the server, the red team had no spawn area. They just spawned in a corner of the quad. So the blue team could just set up with a couple of snipers, and that's what Brent and I did. We just set up snipers and waited for them to spawn and then immediately headshot them. It was.
I think they quit the control point right after that.
On another version of this, the red spawns, when he created the spawn points, all he did was copy one of the set of spawn points to the other spawn room. And so periodically on red, I would spawn in the blue spawn room. Unfortunately, the doors to the blue spawn room would only open for a blue player, not a red player. So I would spawn over there, and it was so funny because it would be 2v2, and then all of a sudden I'd spawn in the blue room, and I'd look over, and my player is out there alone against the 2 players, and you can see out the window in the quad map, and I'm out there like beating on the window going, "Hey, let me out! Let me out!" And I had to wait for other players to spawn in order to get out of the room
and then kill you.
Wow, that's great.
And if I was slow, if they managed to get out and the door shut behind them, I was still trapped.
It's like the sad Indian.
Yeah, right
Single
now,
tear running down his face. Yeah.
Right now, you can go into the opposing spawn room, but you can't use the door. If it's already open, you're free to walk in. There's a entity called Info Team Spawn or Team Spawn Room. I'm not using that at all. But basically, what it does is it puts a circle with a slash, and you can't clip through that area. And
are you going to change? Are you going to use that or?
See, I don't know because it's awfully
building
cool.
a sentry in the other spawn room would be just malicious.
Oh yeah, and that would be annoying. I don't know, but it's neat that the doors are hooked up so you can't use the door. But if you actually get in there through someone else opening it, I think you deserve to be in there. I mean, do you think so?
I don't know.
Especially not with the resupply closet right there.
Yeah, it's just not.
You could just go.
Well,
and you have 15-second respawns.
Yeah, but I don't think they can use it.
No, that you can hook that up
the
to
right color.
Yeah, you can hook that up to be only blue or red, so they wouldn't be able to use your.
Yeah, we can try it both ways.
Yeah, y'all want to log in right now on
Sure.
the game servers?
Oh my God.
This has been Control Point. I'm Wes Wilson.
So the last thing I wanted to talk about for my week was actually not this week, but we didn't get to talk about it last week. I wrote a tutorial for manual lip syncing in Faceposer, and the reason that you would want to use this tutorial is if you're running Vista or can't use the extraction, the automatic extraction in Faceposer for another reason. The tutorial might help you out with choosing phonemes and getting everything all ironed out so it looks great. And you can find that in our forums right now.
Or on the front page.
And after I finally get around to uploading some images and the sample voice file that I used for that, we might even put it on its own page. So
I hate to tell you, I already did that.
You did?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay.
It's on the front page.
That's
You can
teamwork.
get to it.
Did you add the images so I don't have to do that?
I added the image that was there.
Yeah, there was one image of a scout.
Yeah.
Oh, my little banner.
Yeah. If you give me the images, yeah, I'll be glad to do that.
Okay.
There's also I added pages for medic and one of the other classes.
What, like a tip page?
Engineer.
Yeah, basically it was our notes from that class.
Cool.
And that's what I'll do is, I'll put the sniper notes on their own page, and then we can add to it whenever we want.
Awesome. So does anybody else do anything this week, or can we get this train wreck of a show moving on here?
Well, I have 120 hours logged. 60 of those hours are TF2 and 60 is the SDK.
Now, to be
That
fair,
scared me.
You leave it on and then go and buy a burrito at the store. You just leave it running.
I usually don't. No. I mean, I do. I'll get up and,
Well, SDK probably stays on like that, right? Because you just kind of
No, I stay up all night. I don't go to
And then
sleep,
turn it
and
on?
I'll turn it
okay.
off when I'm done. But
Freak.
I mean, I'll edit for 12 hours straight.
And besides, I've noticed the last thing you want to do is leave the SDK up because it's got, I think there's some stray stuff in there.
Memory leaks.
Yeah, you'll end up with a memory leak, and you'll have to end up restarting it anyway.
Yeah, it's touchy.
kind of like our server.
From where? From
Gameservice.com,
Oh,
where real
that's
gamers play.
.com.
So
No one is ever going to get a game server ever again.
No one's ever going to listen to our show ever again.
Well, yeah.
Let's move on. Let's go on to the loudspeaker. This is news and discussions. Who wishes to start here?
Hey, we had a couple of updates that we talked about earlier. The first one was a big honkin' update. I forget what day it was on, but anyway, I think it was last Thursday.
Are you sure it wasn't Wednesday?
I'm sure it was not Wednesday. It was not Wednesday. But this was a source update and a Team Fortress 2 update, and big long bug list. I don't want to go through it all. The important things that they really changed, they changed Hydro around a bit with an exploit that let people jump out of the map. They changed Granary quite a bit. They added you were talking about those windows, weren't you, Wes?
Yes. Your first control point, the building on the second floor where the ramp goes up to, there are now windows there. So you can get snipers up in those windows shooting you as you come out of your spawn point.
Yeah. A big bug that they did fix that I'm grateful for was the bug that made you show up as null name in the server.
Yeah.
That was always annoying, and I haven't seen it since, so I'm glad they fixed that. I
say they increased the base round timer to 10 minutes. So I don't know what it was before, but all of the bases are now 10 minutes. Or that's a round. That's a full round is 10 minutes.
I guess.
don't know what it was before, though.
Yeah. But, it's neat that they're actually going back and changing maps. Not just bug fixes, but actual map changes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Ideally, matches should end in a victory for one team and a loss for the other. Stalemates are essentially a loss for both teams. To avoid stalemates, our map design considers two key variables: team respawn times and travel time from the respawn point to the front line. The team that's winning gets slightly faster respawn times and more forward respawn points, a positive reinforcement loop that increases the chances for them to push forward and win the game.
What do y'all think about the spawn timer bonus where the winning team gets lesser spawn time?
I think it's fantastic.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think almost every single one of the objective-based maps that exist anywhere is already weighted so heavily in favor of the defense that it's very difficult to get an offense going that can actually make an impact on a regular basis.
I disagree with you
on
completely.
some, but not on granary.
I disagree with you completely, and I'll tell you why. Number one, what ends up happening is that first battle is over that middle spawn point in granary. Okay, so you end up with the scout rush. Okay.
Yeah.
The first bit is always the scout rush. So you end up with the first point being won by all scouts. So then if you've got a steamroll.
Not always true.
Oh, come on.
Usually.
If you, Team Fortress TV or TF2 TV, have y'all watched any of that yet?
No.
They're covering some finals where it's like play by play and then showing the action in the map. And I've just got to say the one that I saw was a soldier came in and killed 5 people like off the bat and got that first point.
That,
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm not saying that there aren't situations where it's different. But 90% of the time, that first spawn point is won in granary by the scouts.
I agree.
Okay, can I tell you why you're wrong now?
No, I'm not done. Anyway, so if you've got this first spawn point is instantly determining who is going to roll over the other side better. Additionally, once you capture that middle spawn point, you get a spawn point close to the middle spawn point. And meanwhile, the other players are spawning back at the beginning. And if the engineer hasn't set up a teleporter yet, then suddenly the winning team who won that middle one by whatever fluky scout thing they pulled off, all of a sudden is steamrolling into the second point. And it makes the beginning of that particular map very annoying.
Well, the beginning is the beginning, but that's not what this is really addressing. This is addressing the mid and late game because you don't really get a really a good roll at the beginning. I mean, even if you do take that first point, that next point is always much harder to take. And let me finish. The defense team.
I hate Spencer so much.
The defensive team, the team that is on the defense automatically gets an advantage with base spawn timers because they spawn closer to the action every time. Even on maps where they do have secondary spawn points that you have, the defenders still spawn closer to the action.
But the balance in that is that the points cap faster.
It depends on the point.
To me, they didn't need to change that. Already, point number 5 was captured incredibly fast.
Okay.
So the real issue is point number 4. And I don't think there was any need to make that point any easier or harder to cap.
I think that anything that they can do to prevent there from being more draws where everyone loses, I'm in favor of. If that means making offense a little bit more effective than defense, I'm in favor of that because either team can still have that offensive bonus if they play their cards right. And it may be right now that on one map, it's determined by the first capture. And if that's true, I hope they fix it. But as a general rule on other maps, I think it's a good thing, personally.
I'm just against the Zerg rush. I'm against it. Put it on paper. I want that as a note underneath this particular item.
It on the front.
Wes is against the Zerg rush.
At first, I think I was on Wes's side, but now I think I'm going to have to shift a little bit over to Spencer's because in a match, if you have 2 evenly matched teams, they should basically draw every time. Unless there's some sort of luck involved, right?
No, not inherently, because it depends on whether people can develop teamwork, whether you've got some leadership qualities.
That's why I preface this with 2 equal teams. Say if you're in a match.
Why would you want there to be something that randomly determines which of the 2 won if they're evenly matched teams?
It doesn't randomly do it, though.
Okay.
It's the team that gets that first point is going to have an advantage.
I agree, but at the same time, if I could know for sure that the person who captures that first point is going to be the superior team, then I would agree with you. But I'm not convinced that just because you can capture a point, you should be able to capture the rest of them easier. That doesn't make any sense to me.
You know what I would like to see? Valve is really good about releasing statistics for their games. They just actually released a big set of Half-Life 2 episodes. Episode 2 statistics that were really cool. In fact, they had they went so far as to have overhead pictures of all of the maps from the game that were color coded for where people died.
Wow.
I would really love to see. I'm sure they have statistics on what this particular effect does beyond our theorizing. So I'd like to see something like that. I mean, we can argue about it all day, and trust me, we really can. But
we need to link to those. I haven't seen those yet.
well, I would love to see some of their info for Team Fortress 2, because I'm sure they're not just making these decisions willy-nilly.
Yeah. Wow.
Willy-nilly.
Well, good. No one won that debate.
Hey,
okay.
Wes,
Next.
I still love you.
You just like me because I'm cheap.
But do you feel strongly about this issue?
I think we both feel very strongly about
Are you fueling the fire? Are you rekindling the
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think this, is a personal blight on Spencer's good nature, but at the same time, I think that in the ideal situation in any game is if you have two balanced teams, and the person who gets organized and is able to develop the most teamwork should win.
But okay, here's the thing though. They've got to also design these games for clan matches. We're talking about the best of the best players, correct? Mm-hmm. And they're all going to have teamwork, or they're not going to be the best of the best. That's just part of clan play.
But again, I think that the goal there should be the person who can, I don't think it should be all to be decided by who hits the domino which direction first.
And I don't think
it does. I think it helps.
And then it's a matter of,
I think having a team of that caliber, it's just going to help, but it's not going to win. But what it does is it keeps it from being a draw every single time.
The other thing that I just think that as it stands, it's very difficult to get a real offensive role going, and I think that that's an exciting part of the game. And so far,
I have won and lost Granary a million times. I don't see where all this horrible.
Except it's always grinding. It's always a meat grinder, and every once in a while, I would like to roll over the other team, and I don't think it's going to happen every time because of this. I think this is actually a very minute change.
I haven't played since they made the change at that map, actually. So
I did, and I got to tell you, I saw some rollovers that were just grotesque. I mean, grotesque. Like where we had teams that just whoever won that first point could not. I mean, was unstoppable.
Now, is this Granary specific, or is this just in
I'm talking
this I'm saying, is this change specific to Granary, or is this something with those triggers?
Well,
so any map that uses that same control point.
I don't know. It wouldn't apply to most of the base maps. It would apply to
because I got to say labor. Man, I played in a match the other night that it was like whoever got that first middle cap, they were the winners.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I don't like labor anymore.
Well, you know what? What do you guys think? Let us know.
I think that's something well worth debating.
Yeah.
We should put a thread in our forums.
Yeah, because that is a good debate. Let's go to something we got an MP3, a listener contribution from Hector, one of our good friends that we. He's a listener and he plays with us a lot on our server, and this is what he has to say.
Hey guys, this is Pierre-Luc, but you know me as Hector. I first wanted to thank you on your podcast. It's great. I love it when I'm doing my commute to school. Keep up the good work. And I have a question for you guys. What do you think's the best number of players on a game? You haven't talked about this yet, so I'd like to hear your opinions on that. So keep up the good work, guys, and I hope I'll see you soon on your server.
All right. Thanks, Hector. That is a good question. He asked, what is the best number of players on a game?
Yeah.
Well, I'll be the opinionated one.
Okay, go ahead. For a change.
I think that it completely depends on the map. I think that certain maps are better with fewer players and certain maps are better with more. For instance, when we played on that 32-person 2-fort map, I thought that was a lot of fun. Now, I would prefer a respawn timer, but I do think that 32 people on 2-fort creates some solid battle lines. Now, you get lots of blood and lots of head flying all over, but it's better. And on some maps, I think that fewer players is better. But having 6 people playing, Granary as an example is no fun.
Right.
No fun at all.
Yeah. I agree to that somewhat, but actually I think Team Fort is better 10-10. Maybe 12-12. I do like the 16 on 16 every once in a while, but I think it's almost a stalemate at that time because it's just too much bullets and crap everywhere. Now, if it hadn't been instant respawn, that might have been different.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I think it not only does it depend on the map, like you said, Wes, but I think it also depends on if you are playing with people that are used to teamwork, or I mean, if you're playing with clan members or something, it's it could be a 16-on-16 because you all work well together. Now, if you're playing a pug or something, which basically most of us do, we just get on there and we play. Maybe we have 2 or 3 friends on there, but we're basically not organized, and everyone is not working for the same goal. You have people on there who just want to spy and just want to kill, and they don't care about the flag. So in that instance, I'd say, like you said, Brent, maybe 10-on-10, because it's a little harder to have teamwork with more than 10, maybe 8 to 10 people. I think would be a good. I mean, you can still organize attempts at the flag or do whatever with voice chat with about 8 people.
Yeah.
You know what I think? I think it doesn't matter how many people you have. I think what I used to believe that you need a certain number of people on certain maps for them to be fun. And to a certain extent, that's true. On Gravel Pit, you need a lot of people, or else it's gonna be a win for the offense every time because they can't defend. But it's just a different game if you play with a few people or if you play with a lot of people. Like what Wes was saying, if you're playing with 3 people, like 2-on-1, it's going to be a certain kind of game. You're going to be constantly changing classes to try to adapt to a situation. Mm-hmm. If you're playing with a lot of people, you're going to be able to stick with one class and organize a different kind of strategy. So I think it's fun either way.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good question. Thanks, Hector. Anyone else have a question? Send it on in. Send it on in.
Okay, well, we have eaten up a good chunk of our time, which is good because we didn't really think we were going to be able to talk about that much about Sniper anyway.
Sniper!
We have proven to be wrong. We got a lot of input this week, and we'll cover some of the stuff that we are going to, that we got sent to us. Okay, talking about the Sniper, we're talking about a low health, long distance shooting class. His health is only 125, and he has 3 weapons. Starting off, he's got a melee weapon, which is a Kukri. Is that how you pronounce it? Kukri?
Kukri?
Kukri.
It reminds me of the Yakisha from EverQuest.
Let's all just say it over and over again. Kukri.
Kukri. Kukri. Kukri. Kukri. Kukri.
Kukri sits in an old gum tree.
It's essentially a kind of like a machete that's got kind of a curved blade, and it looks very Australian. Anyway, the secondary weapon of the Sniper is the submachine gun. Now, this actually is not a bad weapon. It has 25 shots that it can shoot, but at the same time, after the reload, you only get 2 reloads. You get 75 total shots.
And it goes through a clip in like a second and a half.
Get it into the base of someone's skull before you pull that trigger.
Yes. In general, I find that when you're using the submachine gun, you do not want to be moving forward. You want to be moving backwards. You're trying to get away from the person who is hurting you, but additionally, you're going to run out of bullets too fast, and that's not where you want to be.
I thought you didn't like running backwards.
Well, I don't like the Sniper.
Oh, okay.
And it's actually a really nice finishing weapon too. Like if you've there's a couple situations, say 2 forts, something like that, and you hit another sniper, but just enough to wound them. Sometimes pop out that submachine gun and finish them off real quick.
That's a good point.
Right.
Now, if a soldier's coming in and you pop him and you don't kill him and he goes in, well, he thinks he's past the sniper. Jump down behind him, put that gun in his back, and blow him away.
That's a good point.
Those are a couple ones I like.
That's a very good point. The primary weapon of the Sniper is the sniper rifle, and I'm sure you've seen it. It's the big scoped rifle pointing at you from across the screen. The way the weapon works is fairly simple. You go into scope mode, which drops your field of vision extremely. Additionally, your movement is probably the slowest in the game, and your sniper rifle will begin to charge up. You'll see a little bar on there, and it'll get the little bars, almost like meters on a cell phone, will start to charge up. And then when you get to the top, you'll be able to do the most damage with your sniper hits.
Bang! Can you hear me now?
Headshot.
And if you get a headshot on a player, which means you hit them in the hit zone that is their head, you will kill them.
No matter what.
Yes. It doesn't have to be a critical hit. Doesn't have to be anything. If you hit them in the head, they will die.
That's even if they're being healed up, right?
Yes. Even a heavy that has a medic that's got him at full 400 health will be taken out by a headshot from a sniper.
That does 450.
Yeah. Do we have the damage chart around here?
It's somewhere.
I think a fully charged sniper shot does 150. And a headshot always does triple damage. So that's 450. And 450 is a fully charged up heavy. So,
Right.
The sniper rifle was another tricky design problem. To meet players' expectations, a sniper rifle has to be able to kill an opponent with a single shot to the head. On the flip side, we need to ensure it cannot be snap-fired from the hip with the same effect, because then, in the hands of an experienced player, it also becomes the game's most lethal short-range weapon, negating the sniper's primary weakness. To solve this, we implemented a charging damage meter that only appears when the sniper is zoomed. This solution has several beneficial side effects. The low damage both while unzoomed and at the initial zoom ensures that snipers can't kill opponents with impromptu snap fire. The charge time means snipers can deal out low damage shots quickly or highly damaging shots at slow intervals, which allows opponents to overwhelm them with a coordinated rush. The high damage at the end of the charge rewards sniper-esque behaviors such as locating a decent vantage point and taking very deliberate shots.
Some of the features of the sniper rifle, the damage of the bullets will increase as the charging on the sniper rifle goes up. Now, it's important to point out that even if you're charging up, the distance that a sniper bullet travels is akin to every other bullet in the game. Every weapon in the game loses strength as it travels a farther distance. So if you get a leg shot on somebody at 50 yards and you get a leg shot on somebody at 150 yards, it's going to be a different damage level, even if you're charged up the same amount.
With the sniper rifle?
Yeah. Yeah. All weapons in the game lose damage with distance.
I don't know if that's true with the sniper rifle, though.
I read it. I read it. It might be a lie, but I read it.
I think it's a lie.
Did you read it in a book?
I think it's a lie. I mean, because
I saw it on the TV.
It's like you at a certain distance, you would stop being able to kill someone. You know what I mean? And
Well, yeah,
that's
it
not
may
the
be.
case.
Have you ever tried to shoot all the way across a flood zone?
Yes, and it's possible.
I have not been able to go from back wall to back wall.
The problem is your dot is so big, you cannot aim. But if you keep doing it, you will get a headshot and you will kill that person.
Well, now a headshot is one thing.
Why? It's 3 times the damage.
I know, but a headshot against a sniper, no matter what you do, 450 points. How much do you divide it to got to beat 150? I'm still telling you this is what I read. I read it. I believe it.
I know 10 points times 3 is 30. So.
Man, this is just a show for us to argue. Isn't
I know.
I just don't agree with that one because from what I've seen is when you use your sniper rifle, you're doing full damage every time, depending on where your meter is.
I'll look into it some more, but that's what I read.
Hey, what do you guys think? Let us know.
I'm going to get you a T-shirt with that on it. The sniper's primary role is going to be defensive. Your goal is to sit back and wait for your attackers to come to you, and then you need to take them out.
I disagree. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice one.
Kukri
sits in an old gum tree.
Anyway, but just when you are on an offensive line, okay, and you start seeing the heavy and the medic in front of you being sniped before your eyes, it's time to push. Doesn't matter what you're waiting for, go through. If the sniper is clearing the area, use it as an offensive bonus.
Yep.
Okay, so moving on a little bit to the tips. It is not always wise to let your peak bar fill up. It says here in our notes when sniping at other snipers, but I say that's true with almost any other class as well. You don't necessarily want to. Sometimes you need to get the shot off and you need to get it off quick, or you're going to lose the chance for them to be sitting there by themselves.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah,
and even if you don't kill them, you've just injured them, so someone else can.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you have a shot, take it. Generally.
Yeah. one thing to keep in mind also is, and I read this, we got a lot of tips that said this, when you're dealing with other snipers, probably shouldn't even bother scoping in. If you're in the 2 sniper bays in 2 Fort and you see another sniper, just move over and shoot him with the gun. If you get a headshot, you're still going to kill the guy, whether you're scoped in or not.
Yeah, I have never tried that.
I haven't either. I really wanted to, but I kept getting so annoyed playing the sniper this week. No,
Why do you get so annoyed with the sniper?
Well, because it's not. My problem is, and this is going to be one of my tips later on. My problem is, you don't feel like sometimes you don't feel like you're contributing directly to what's going on in the battle.
Okay.
There is a secondary level of combat that occurs with the snipers.
To accommodate snipers, maps need wide open spaces, long sight lines, and protective cover. Targets of the sniper require alternate routes that bypass the sniper's sight lines, though these usually have an additional cost, such as increased travel time. This leaves players with a choice. Do they take the more direct but hazardous route, or the safer yet slower route? Sniper positions generally also have a corresponding enemy sniper deck positioned on the other side of the arena, which allows one sniper to counter another, offering cover for teammates in exposed areas.
And as a matter of fact, why don't we go ahead and read? Should I read this comment?
Our favorite one?
Yes.
Okay. Who was this?
This was from a listener. What's his name?
Actually, let's skip this. Let's go ahead and do the positive things, and then we'll talk about some of the negative things.
That's the dessert, I think.
Yes. Also, the laser scope or the sight on the sniper rifle produces a small dot. And you need to pay attention to where that's pointed, because the other team will see, if the other team's blue, they'll see your little red dot on the wall where you're zoomed in. And that's a big warning sign that says, hey, there's a sniper watching this area.
Yeah,
I see so many people ignore that and not even look, especially on 2 Fort. Look for that dot before you start walking on that platform. Yep. I mean, I see people walk right into it and then boom.
Yeah.
Like, well.
And let's say you're about to walk out the doors and the snipers are watching the 2 doors in the front of 2 Fort. Well, if you see a little red dot, use the other door. Don't allow yourself to be sniped when the evidence that there is a sniper watching that spot is right there.
Yeah, and don't just run out. Jump out. Because if you jump out, likelihood is they're going to hit you in the chest instead of the head.
Yeah. Although a good sniper will hit you in the head all the time. I got to tell you, I've gotten so mad.
By the Kukri can sniper.
Okay. Another good thing to do is to find a place within the enemy lines where you can reverse your position. The issue here is people are looking for snipers ahead of them. They rarely look for snipers behind them. If you can find a good place to sneak and hide and you are behind the enemy lines, then when the people run by you, they won't see you. They'll keep running in straight lines and you just snipe them right in the head.
And when we mention these spots, how to do like the reverse sniping and things like that, keep in mind it doesn't mean that's all you do, because that's another tip. I know someone sent in, but I totally agree with this, is a good sniper is always changing positions so no one knows where he is. It's just like the trick with the engineer moving his gun around. If your gun gets blown up, don't put it in the same place. Move it, because you're going to get those first few kills just because people are trying to figure out where the hell you are. Oh.
Yeah. What?
No, nothing.
I find that if a sniper snipes you as a sniper, don't respawn and go back to that same spot and try to get revenge. That's so corny. You know what I mean? They know you're coming back. You're going to get sniped again. I mean, but that's another thing I see.
At least poke your head out from a different place.
Yeah, because the thing is, you know where he is. Also, if on the reverse side, if you just sniped another sniper and he's dead, move. Because if he's one of the people that wants to get revenge, he's going to look for you in that same spot.
He's going to find a slightly different place for him to stand, and then he's going to snipe you.
The reason I don't play a whole lot of snipers, for me, it's really easy to get into a rut where I don't move. And then I just get frustrated because my own inadequacies are causing me to die over and over again.
I know, and then you get mowed down. It's like a scout drive-by or something. You're like, what?
But there is, in all this negative talk about sniper, and we're going to have a little bit of it tonight, there is some good stuff. When you get those headshots, there is a thrill of of adrenaline that goes coursing through you. It is like a lightning bolt, and you're like, yes. And if you can get 2 or 3 in a row, you feel like a god on earth.
Yeah, it's gratifying.
Well, or at least in 2-4. Feel like God
A god in 2-4.
Yeah.
I am the god of 2-4.
And also, let me tell you, the sniper quest on Call of Duty 4.
Oh god, that was so
my God.
awesome.
Well, that's like sniping in GoldenEye.
No,
was
yeah,
some
no,
of the
it was
best,
so awesome.
some of the best game I've ever played, sniper wise. And we'll point out one other thing: the sniper class in this game, on the whole, is very similar to every sniper in every game that's ever been made.
Except you're always steady.
Yeah.
Your shot is always steady, which makes it pretty easy.
I'll tell you one way the sniper is much, much better than it was in Team Fortress or Team Fortress Classic. In both of those games, you had to hold down the mouse button to charge up your shot, and there was no way to zoom in without holding down the mouse button. So basically, if you decided that there wasn't a shot for you to take and you wanted to change positions, well, you just wasted a round.
Of course, the one good thing with that was, and they actually have it, I know y'all don't like scripts, but there's a script to reverse it so you can hold down and let go, is it's faster to let go of a mouse button than it is to press it. And so you have much better timing that way, or you're quicker.
Well,
that way.
it's like the way they teach you to shoot in real life is you breathe all out, and I imagine it's kind of similar. Okay, next tip.
I need to start trying that.
I'm trying to rush this thing along. Here, you didn't see the 3-word note over here. Anyway, don't sit back too far from the front lines. If you aren't shooting people, you aren't doing your job. Okay, let's say you find a great place to hide and you're guarding the intelligence. Big whoop. Don't bother sitting there shooting nothing, waiting for somebody to come. You need to start easing towards the front lines and finding a place where you can actually do some damage. Otherwise, you're just a placeholder.
Yeah, like
Sentry
an engineer.
guns. Get rid of those sentry guns.
Yep. If you aren't a good sniper, do not play one.
You know, I think that holds
tip.
true for just about every class, but I mean, with sniper especially.
If you're not a good sniper, you are worthless. You are
Except for you're taking, you're doing, and this is kind of goes to the comment, right? The sniper's job
yeah.
is to keep the other snipers busy. That's
Yes.
really their main job.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And so long as they can go up there, they might as well snipe as like a scout.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah.
much harder to hit a scout, but you could just run back and forth on the deck all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So if you're not a good sniper, take a hint and move on.
Yeah.
Play
It's
scout.
just like a bad spy. A bad sniper or a bad spy, for the most part, you'll do better as a soldier. And
Yeah.
and
it won't be
go
as
for
funny.
it, maggots.
Like bad spies are funny. You know, like having a bad spy come into your flag room is fun.
Yeah, that's why you laugh at me all the time. Okay, we got some good tips about the sniper. Jesus, JC himself sent us a couple good tips. The best one was, we already said this, keep moving around, you know, and I don't just mean between shots. When you are actually zoomed in, you know, strafe back and forth a little bit because that will prevent someone else from shooting you in all chances.
And I like crouching a lot.
You know, if you crouch when you're zoomed in, you can't move.
You can strafe, but it's really slow. Have you noticed that?
It's always
super,
really
super
slow.
I thought
it's
you
even
couldn't move at
slower.
all.
Yeah, it's even
I thought it actually immobilized you.
Nope, it's even slower, especially strafing as crouched and zoomed in.
Who's this next tip from here?
Okay.
Oh, from Blake?
This is our favorite tip of the entire thing. Okay, this is his. I'm just gonna read it word
Number
for word.
one.
Do not be one almost all of the time. The sniper is one of the most useless characters. It is only in there for those players that have some kind of eye to scope action fetish. Sure, you can take out a heavy in one shot in a large open area, but a spy can do it better and be more useful on top of that. Putting snipers in the game was just a way to create some kind of secondary game within the game where snipers can snipe at each other and remain completely oblivious to the actual game going on. People playing sniper should just play any number of the extra super highly enjoyable flash shooting gallery games available all over the internet for free and at a fraction of the bandwidth and GPU or CPU cycles.
Okay,
Nice.
before we talk about this, I need to make sure we preface our discussion with Blake said it, not us. Blake, send your hate email to Blake.
I agree with a lot of what he said.
The spirit is in the right place.
I think snipers snipe snipers, and you might get 1 or 2 kills in between that sniper coming out, but it's this mini game of keeping the snipers
on
down.
2 Fort. Yeah, on 2 Fort. On other maps, a sniper can be really effective at suppressing people coming in a certain entrance or at suppressing defenders coming out of their spawn. There's a lot that a sniper can do. On 2 Fort, sure. Every time someone sees a sniper up there, someone else plays sniper, and then the snipers snipe each other.
It's a chess game.
It's not even a chess game.
It is. Because as long as no sniper comes into play, unless somebody gets a wild hair and says, "Hey, I think I'll go sniper," nobody will pick sniper. So then as soon as one comes into play, someone has to counter it, and then you end up with any of the 8-person team with 4 snipers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's very frustrating.
And I hate it when they're all clumped up together too. It's so useless. You know, see like 4 of them standing in one area.
Now, we had another tip here, and I think this was from Mr. Eagle. What's his real name there?
Mr. Eagle.
The best. He sent several tips. I think my favorite tip of his was, don't try to take out enemy snipers unless you know they can see you. I think that's what that means. Don't try to take out snipers unless you know they can't see you.
Yes. So as long as they can't see you, shoot at snipers. But if they can see you, then you're in trouble.
Okay, that's not what I guess I didn't understand that tip. Never mind.
You know, there was one.
Hey, thanks, Mr. Eagle.
One of these tips from PB and Flash. He a bunch of his tips we've already talked about here, but one of them is keep your back to the wall to thwart spies. Now, this one's interesting because when people are, I'm playing spy a lot, and I'll see a sniper with his back to the wall at the front door of 2 Fort. You know, a smart sniper is not going to stand up on top, right? So he's hiding down there, but his back's to the wall. I'll walk up to him and backstab his shoulder, and he'll die.
Yeah, because backstab works on the sides as well.
And
yeah,
on
so
the feet, I found that out too.
So that that may be a false tip there, I guess. I mean, can you?
No,
always...
you still, if your back is to the wall, you still have better protection than if it's not. I think that's true.
If nothing better, it gives you a better field of vision, even though it's really minimized. Another thing is, if you see a bunch of snipers in a particular place and they're all got their guns up to their head and are all zoomed in, get to the side of them and just take them out. They're not going to turn to you if they're all zoomed in a row, taking out their ducks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just mow them down and have a great time doing it.
It makes you have reloaded before you do.
Yes.
There's nothing like getting that first shot off and then having to start reload while the guy unzooms and turns around and clocks you in the head.
Yeah.
And if you see a rocket, unzoom and get out.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're not going to survive that rocket blast.
Yeah, that was another one from PB and Flash. But yeah, that's true. I mean, that's kind of how you take snipers out. You hit the back wall and boom, 5 of them die. You know.
What else we got here?
Let's see. We have some from Kevin Burnell.
A lot of good snipers do their attacks without even being zoomed in on the scout.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
And the other thing is, don't just pick a spot and sit still. Again, move around. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you mention what he said about putting a sticker or a felt tip marker on your screen?
No.
Yeah, Kevin Burnell. Scroll down there. He says to let's see, scrolling. He says a lot of good snipers dot their screen with a felt marker so that they can aim without being in scope.
You know, my monitor cost $350. I'm not.
What about a static sticker?
Yeah, I would put a static sticker.
But okay, I don't quite get this because I mean, if you put a dot on your screen, what are you aiming at?
At the center.
Yeah.
It's always the center.
Yeah.
That's where your crosshairs is supposed to be.
Now, and I've mentioned this in another podcast. Also, sometimes people will have sniper sprays. And what they'll do is they'll
those.
go up to the sniper bays in an area and spray the back wall with a sniper spray.
I love that.
And what it does is it distracts snipers for a little while they try to shoot and make a headshot on this thing that's just an inanimate object pasted on the back wall.
Hey, what if we make one kind of the same principle, but like the sniper dot?
That's not a bad
Maybe
idea.
like 3 or 4.
3 or 4 snipers.
Do y'all ever get confused? I always get freaked out because I'll be running out of the red 2-fort and I'll see that red dot above the right door. There's like a little alarm system up there or something. Do you know what I'm talking about? And I always see that dot and I'm worried because you take a right out the front door and I'm worried there's a sniper behind me in that back left corner because I see that little red dot and I'm like, gotcha.
So yeah,
I thought you were going to say what I always do when I like start a new map and I'm like red or blue and I've got to sit there and go kill blue, kill blue, kill blue, kill blue because I forget what team I am and then it auto switches me and I'm like running up to some guys and they're like shooting me and I'm like, what's going on?
Last night I was playing a pyro and I swear I spent like 5 minutes trying to kill Nailhead, and he was on the same team. He was just an engineer, and I'm sitting there, I'm shooting his stuff, and it's not blowing up, and I'm like, oh, he's here, he's going to hit me with his wrench. So
I was wondering what you're doing.
I wanted you dead.
I thought you were just checking for spies. I'm like, you've shot me 20 times. I'm pretty sure I'm not a spy.
I hate it when you take a teleporter and you think it's taking you to the other sewers and it takes you to yours and you go running up into your own base thinking that I've done that many times.
Pay attention to the color of the walls. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's winding us down. I think we might have actually clocked about an hour and a half on this episode.
Oh my God.
But snipers, there's not really much to talk about.
Let's
But
see.
send in tips next week for. We might not should do that one because Prodigal wants to be in on that one.
Okay.
Oh, he does?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
So let's do.
Leaves us with the
what do you wanna do?
the pyro.
You want to do scouts?
Scouts.
Let's do scout next week.
Yeah, scouts.
Okay.
So send in your scout tips.
Let me tell you what. Real quick,
Scout tips, please.
your
I mean,
your
we
scout
got
tip-
plenty of scout tips.
Your
but,
scout tip should not be double jump. Okay, do not send that tip.
Or let's say this: send in one tip. Don't send in 10 at a time. Send in one. That way we can say, "This is a tip from so and so."
Yeah, and honestly, we should probably try and post all the tips we get up in the forums so people don't send in the same tips over and over again because we got a lot of tips that we couldn't use because
I don't agree. I think we should talk about it online first. I'm all for it.
Okay.
We'll use our magical editing tools.
But anyway, there were some people that sent some tips that we didn't get to because
and we don't mean to sound not unthankful. We were very thankful, but it was a little overwhelming. It's like, wow, okay. We really don't think you guys listen to us.
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to go through and kind of thank Kevin Burnell, PB and Flash, Jesus, Blake,
Mr. Eagle
Mr.
And
Eagle,
Hector.
Hector called us.
And I'm sorry if I forgot a few here.
There's
Hey, Hobbs.
Hobbs.
Hobbs,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. In fact, Hobbs sent in a MP3.
Yeah.
And so let's play it real quick.
Hey, this is Hobbs. Calling you guys just to give you some information on the sniper. Personally, I find that on the smaller maps, they're almost completely useless because they can just be flanked by spies or pyros, and snipers usually aren't the greatest to just have on your own. I mean, of course, it's all about teamwork in the game, so no one class is ever better than all the others except if you're a spy. But the snipers, I find, are best for taking out sentry guns because when you do that charge, then the engineers are just hiding right behind the sentry guns. If you move just a centimeter to the left, you can easily snipe the engineer, and then in about 4 or 5 seconds, you can take out the sentry guns. No, that's basically it for the snipers. Thanks for the shout out again, guys, last week. That was great. Soldiers, yeah, you know, soldiers are soldiers. They'll kill you, maggots! And you got your Australian snipers. So, till next week, guys. Later.
Okay, thanks. And that was the final tip. That was kind of the cherry on top.
Yeah.
In fact, he had a lot of them in there.
Yeah, we had to cut it down just a little bit.
Yeah. But thanks. We love call-ins and MP3s sent to us and that sort of thing. So
And we
I
love
guess
the emails too. And
Yeah.
the reviews.
Keep sending us emails, keep sending us reviews, keep calling us. We love it.
And talk to us on our board. Say
Yes.
hi.
And come blow us up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Kukri.
So anyway,
Kukri.
So dig us come give us iTunes comments. You can always give us a call and leave a message at 256-513-4772. Let it ring, let it beep, and leave a message.
Good boy, mates.
Kukri. 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 Kukri.
You are now at the end of another episode of Control Point.
Victory.
Every one of you deserves a medal.
A podcast brought to you by the Dead Workers Party. See the show notes and leave comments for this episode at controlpoint.deadworkers.com or leave us a voicemail at area code 256-513-4772.
Auf Wiedersehen.
I mean, my heart's beating, my hands are shaking, but I'm still shooting, and I'm still getting the headshots. It's like boom, headshot, boom,